We are back in 2015 with the NEPA Scene Podcast. It occurred to me in 2014 that we usually don't introduce ourselves, so we should probably do that. I'm Rich Howells. I'm the editor and founder.
I'm Lauren Coralico, and I am the female voice.
I'm Mark Dennebaum, and
he's the funny guy.
I didn't know what to say. I was going to say something like where I'm like the half female voice, and I was like, that was stupid. And then I just said it out loud, so it made it stupid. So, can we keep going?
Yeah, let's get to Jimmy.
Hi, I'm Jim Reynolds, and I'm the sound engineer and operator of the controls inside the control room.
And I didn't hear what Jimmy said because I don't have headphones on today because we don't have enough headphones for everyone because we've got 3 special guests today. What did he say, Lauren?
I'm going to be the mouthpiece for Jimmy.
Sure.
He said that he is Jim Reynolds and he is the most awesome person on this podcast.
In a nutshell, yeah.
I'm in agreement with that. So today we have with us Rich Perry, Marty Wolff, and John Phillips, and they're here to talk about a brand new event that's going on at the Hilton in Scranton. It's called Resolutions, and you can probably figure out by the name what it entails. But
what does it? I'm sorry.
Before we get to that, I'll just quickly go down some of the stuff we have on the site this week. We actually have a band called Louisa. Their first interview ever is actually with us. They're a brand new band coming out.
Really?
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, we that's actually the second or third time that we've had the band's first interview.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because a lot of I had interviewed so many bands over the years, and of course, because all these different bands in the area share members and stuff, word gets around, and they all kind of like my writing style, so they always end up coming to me like, "Oh, you do our first thing," so that we come out sounding good, So it's flattering, it's cool, but yeah, she's the singer is an old colleague of mine, so
what kind of music is it?
It's hard to describe, actually. It's female vocals, but she sings in a much lower register than most females do. It's Amanda Ditmar.
Amanda has a band?
Yeah, she has a band now.
You know her, don't you?
I know Amanda.
Okay. Yeah, and she actually she quit her old job and she just wanted to do something new. And
inside joke. That's why I laugh.
And so she started a band called Louisa, and it's a 3-piece. So we'll have that story coming up this weekend. We have lots of photos this week, lots of photo packages. A couple from River Street Jazz Cafe, one from Synesthesia Social in North Scranton. We also have a story which actually leads into what we're going to be talking about on today's podcast about 3 unique businesses in the area that can help you stay fit. So we talked to a few different businesses who do things that are a little bit different than just your average, lifting weights or running on the treadmill. So different ways to stay in shape in 2015 and keep your New Year's resolutions, which is what I wanted to bring up. Who has New Year's resolutions? Mark, he's already giggling.
I don't have any. Keep going.
I want to eat more chocolate. If I can chime in, that's one of my resolutions.
Really? That's
a good one.
I want to eat more chocolate.
Usually it's so
I don't want to hold back.
So wait, this is the year of living dangerously for you.
Even more dangerously. Eat more chocolate, man. Yeah. Put on more weight.
What was the everything I do relates back to a movie. So what was that movie with Al Pacino? What was it, Devil's Advocate, where he's like, love biochemically is no different than eating large quantities of chocolate.
Now I got to tell you, now is the time to eat chocolate because we're going to run out. Because
the Dow is going down.
Actually, the stock on chocolate is going up because the world supplies on cacao is going down because the world temperatures are changing in such a way that the chocolate bean isn't growing in as many habitats as it used to in previous decades.
I just wanted to eat more chocolate.
That's crazy. That's more of a prophecy of the book.
I'm glad I'm trending.
Coming
true.
True.
Right, Rich? I'm trending.
They ration
How did
chocolate.
you say that with a straight face
Remember?
the whole time?
What do you mean?
Well, okay, 2 things, right? Lauren's brilliant.
Okay, I got that.
And she's like a walking encyclopedia. And then Jimmy was like, that's amazing. That's like 1984 coming to life. Because apparently
one
in the
more
Orwell
example.
book,
It's true.
what
They ration chocolate.
they
Yeah.
ration chocolate.
There's groups of people that don't even know what chocolate tastes like. They've only heard stories that there was this thing called chocolate that is like delicious, but the inner party members and the people that are in the core of the government are the only ones that get to have it.
Now, Jimmy's saying that in 1984, only certain people know what chocolate tastes like. But the scary thing is, most of what we consider to be chocolate and what we eat as chocolate is only chocolate flavored. We don't actually have actual chocolate in a lot of our chocolate candy bars anymore.
That's a good point.
Yes, it's
I
true.
don't know if
It's actually really
it's a good
hard.
point, but you now know that.
It's really hard to get your hands on actual chocolate nowadays.
So if I eat a Snickers, it's going to be like totally fine, like 30 years from now. Or
Snicker flavored
it's
chocolate.
not real chocolate.
It's chocolate flavor.
It's chocolate flavor.
Yeah,
So how do you make chocolate flavor?
it's chemically replicated.
Same way you
That's
made,
gross.
Same way you made a pineapple vape.
And
the same
actually,
way that chicken McNuggets taste like chicken.
It's like how chicken McNuggets replicate the taste of chicken, but are not actually probably chicken. Although we don't really know that for sure, Jimmy.
Well, it is,
Rich, I'm
but it's
sorry.
all mashed up and clean with ammonia, and then they
going
actually
to.
add the flavor back in later.
Now you guys are starting to catch on how things devolve really quickly.
Now, to be clear,
Yeah.
it's not just chocolate that we're experiencing this problem with. It's also certain types of coffee beans and bananas and a lot of different plants that are grown in that part.
Do you have any stock tips since we're going down this road? That
Lauren, I defer to Lauren on any question I have. When I'm like, Lauren,
It would really
I have a
actually
hard time
depend
using
on
the restroom. She'll know why.
in a
That's
business's
how Lauren works.
model for actual sustainability in terms of their growth potential.
You know what's awesome?
Supply chain.
I'm watching these fine gentlemen here, and in my mind, like in my mind's eye, I just watched all their heads go.
You should go on Jeopardy. It'd be awesome.
I would love to go on Jeopardy.
It would be amazing.
I have to take that test though.
Yeah, take
I
the
keep
test.
Wait,
forgetting.
tell them what your life goal is right now.
Oh, I want to be on TED Talks. That's all I
That's
want
it.
to
Let's see
do.
that.
All I want to do is be on TED
That'd
Talks.
be awesome.
Without getting into the details of it, what's the topic?
Essentially, behavioral marketing.
Nice.
It's something very specific in terms of it, but in broad strokes, behavioral marketing.
Now, if you sit and talk with her about this,
We can walk
I'm
up.
already
We can
there.
walk from one side of Scranton to the other side of Scranton and have this conversation, and we've done that, Mark.
which we did while
We
carrying
did.
a tube.
I think we just got New Year's resolution. Let's try to get that done in 2015.
yeah.
Okay.
There
You want
go.
a TED Talk? I'll film a TED Talk for you immediately, but I don't know if it'll be like we can get the logo and stuff, but I don't think it'll be
No, I
sanctioned.
want-
That'd be like imitation chocolate.
It'll be like Ned Talk.
Unless you're
No.
actually on.
That
a
has to
TED
be
Talk.
an
I want a
official
TED
one.
Talk.
They do the TED. Is it
TEDx.
TEDx
There's
talks?
TEDx, yeah.
Would you settle for TEDx?
I would. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I did the film festival this year for
Oh, okay.
Imagine Science, and that was fabulous. But it's not a talk. I want to talk.
Didn't
I know
they
you-
do, didn't
I want
they do
to-
something in
I would
Scranton
like to
recently, Rich?
pontificate.
They did actually.
There was a TED event here.
Yeah,
I'm
there
not
was
sure.
the TEDx event. Yeah.
Right.
I actually I know the organizer, and she said she's probably not going to do it again this year. So if somebody else takes it over, then by all means. But I
Wasn't
guess
that
she's not gonna
focused
organize it.
on? Should know the answer. Wasn't that focused on arts and then?
It was a lot of marketing and business for the most
Marketing,
part.
business, okay.
A lot of independent businesses and things like that. It was interesting. We did post all the videos on NEPA Scene, so if you do want to see them, you can go to the search bar on the bottom of the site and look them up. They're they're all there.
You could do that.
Yeah.
Oh, so wait, NEPA Scene's like Google?
Well, for our own content, you can.
Oh my God.
You can search and.
I'm gonna Google. I'm gonna.
Here's
I'm
what you
gonna
do,
search myself.
Mark. You go on the site. You click on.
You use this thing called a key.
He's on our podcast, but he doesn't know how to
There's a
use our
search
site.
bar right by all the social media things. And there's also a little
Oh,
thing
there's
there.
Rich's name.
Yeah, you can also see the site map over here. You gotta look at the website, dude.
I'm blissfully ignorant.
Anybody else have a New Year's resolution?
To eat real chocolate.
Now,
Like Colombia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, we got to go to like Portugal or Spain.
I would go there.
I got real chocolate from my cousin who went to Portugal, and I was over the moon.
It's like a Kevin Smith movie, isn't it?
Is it like
I
just
asked.
a
She
big
went to
difference?
Yeah, she went to Portugal, and she's like, "What do you want me to bring back?"
One makes you happy.
I said, "Bring me back real chocolate."
And what did that taste like?
Oh, fabulous! It's like it's crumbly in the package. It falls apart as you take it
That doesn't
take
seem
it,
like chocolate.
and then you
to me.
put it in your mouth, and it just melts.
Isn't that
and
what
it
chocolate
becomes
does?
dry-
Even
it's
the
supposed to.
unreal one?
Yeah, but it's not like real chocolate. You don't understand until you've eaten.
That's
real
M&M
chocolate.
flavored chocolate.
See, now you're hooked. You want to eat real
I don't-
chocolate.
I kinda
I
don't.
want real chocolate. No,
I
yes,
kinda
you do.
don't.
Do you
Yes,
ever
do.
see
You
me?
are a liar.
Do you ever
You are
see
an
me eating
absolute liar.
chocolate?
Dude, a Ford Pinto in a
Walks into a
Lamborghini
bar?
and
Ow!
both get you from A to B.
I want real chocolate.
I don't even know what that meant. I don't even know
want
why I
real
said
chocolate
it.
now, too.
Rich said my game's off. Now I'm totally self-conscious about like
Be happy.
shit.
You said
No, I said you were in a funk.
I am in a funk.
You know what you need?
real chocolate.
Real chocolate.
Well, that's why
Can we
we're
import real chocolate?
we're gonna talk.
Yes.
We're gonna talk
Okay.
to our life coach today,
Is
and you're going to
plural.
feel a little bit better by the end of the podcast.
At the end of this, I want to call all of you brother.
You got it.
All right.
When you get done talking with Rich, you might not need real chocolate.
I love. Okay. All right. I'm game.
Well,
I'll just take his portion.
real quick.
This is sexual chocolate right here.
I thought it was the trash. I did a. I'm not coming into this conversation as like one of those like skeptical or for or like whatever people. But we had to do it when I was in film school. We had to do a documentary, like a short form documentary, and we did it on this town in Florida called Casadega, which is full of like mystics and mediums and psychics and everything. And I was the one who went in, who's like, "This is bullshit." And then there was this girl who went and had a reading, and you know they were lucky. We were lucky enough to allow them to let us tape record it, not film it, but tape record it. And I was the one leaving the town going like, there might be something to this. And the other girl was like, this is bullshit. So it was one of those strange situations. So I'm like most Americans, I'm easily persuaded. But I'm really excited to hear the gauntlet that you're going to throw down.
Oh, watch out. Thor's hammer's coming.
You've been challenged.
Let's go. Let's take this ride.
All
I
right.
don't know what that means.
In a Ford Pinto.
So Rich Perry, what do you do for a living? Tell us about it.
Do I look at you or do I look at the camera?
You talk to us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably should have
Michael
squared that away
Strahan isn't
before.
here.
Yeah.
You're fine.
Ignore the cameras.
Okay. All right. So
They ignore us. So
I'm a personal and professional development coach, utilizing NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, also different forms of hypnosis and trance.
really
Yeah.
that
No,
no,
I did hypnosis.
I'm the dude.
Yeah,
who's
you
just
you
like,
don't.
who doesn't
it-
know.
It
Like,
doesn't
I'm going to ask questions.
It's you don't have to stare at the spiral or look deeper into my eye. Like, doesn't have to happen like that. It's
What is it?
very
like then?
casual. Think about it like this:
I thought he was going to go look deep into my eyes. I was like, I knew it.
we all put ourselves in trance throughout the day. Yeah. So, have you ever driven from point A to point B and a 20-minute drive has been 5 minutes and you're like, oh, how did I even get here? You know the
I used to
route.
call that alcoholism.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm trying to get my A game back,
We
Rich.
do not endorse
Right on,
drinking
right on.
and driving on
So
any
this would be
PAC.
like, you're really engrossed in a movie or you're listening to your favorite album, and you get into that very relaxed state of mind. So that's trance. You self-hypnotize yourself every day, multiple times throughout the day.
I didn't know that. Did anybody else know
Yeah.
Mhm.
It would be like for you do like video work, right?
Yeah.
So imagine you're like editing that video and you're looking at the same frame over and over and you're
Oh, like 9 hours go by and you're like,
Right.
what just happened?
okay, exactly. Right there, that's trance. You put yourself in trance. So now This would be when you are working with a professional. You said you went through hypnosis before, right? So imagine that done with the help of a professional who is going to guide you to that desired area. You know,
I'm a bag of anxiety.
okay.
So I'm really curious on like basically what you're telling me to do is like calm down, right?
I'm suggesting that you may want to just take a nice deep breath and relax. So it would be like, again, you put yourself in those relaxed states. So now you're accepting of the hypnotherapist to install positive suggestions and you accept what it is that they have to say because you have that rapport and you trust that they're going to help you get down and become a better person.
What is that? And I don't want to be the only one like
For example,
being like the one who's like, why is the sky blue?
I did hypnotherapy to help me quit smoking,
Okay.
and it worked 2 years ago.
And then
I met you, and I fell off the wagon 6
You're
months
the
ago.
devil.
dude, I'm the guy. Maybe I'm the guy who inadvertently trances people
But
into doing horrible shit.
but my New Year's
I'm like, eat
resolution,
more processed chocolate.
I'm 5 days no cigarettes. So
Good job.
God.
Good job.
God willing, I still have my hypnotherapist. When I left therapy, gave me a CD. So if I ever needed to pick me up, I have the CD. So I've been listening to CD every morning. It's half an hour, self hypnosis, just
Good.
get me into that relaxed state of mind. Put that seed back in my head, saying I don't need it. I'm not a slave to it. Everything it's doing to my body is terrible,
That's great.
and I
Cool.
go throughout my day, and it's just like every time I've got my little trick, my trigger, where I touch my thing.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I've got it's my non-dominant hand touching my fingertips, and
What did that?
it's like a
You're
I'm programmed.
an anchor.
Yeah, I've got a little like you saw Inception.
So you guys totally are like in the same dictionary.
yeah.
right
Yeah.
now.
This is good. We can leave now because this is getting
Yeah.
really, really good now.
Right.
what in Inception,
Wait,
you know
wait,
that you're really in the real life because you have the
Did that in
top.
Zoolander last night.
I'm gonna try.
I watched that.
Hit
Okay.
the top, right?
Yeah, Zoolander. Derek.
That's they brainwashed him like that with the trigger with that song "Relax." Don't do it.
Yeah, but
That's
relax
like
is a great
Manchurian
trigger.
Candidate.
That's what triggered him to kill
That's
the
what triggers
Prime
me.
He's
Minister
talking
of
about
Malaysia.
he's triggering people to kill people.
Oh,
Okay.
The opposite of
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the whole. What's it? The whole. It's the whole. Oh, he goes. Oh, the opposite of good. Derek, eat a banana.
Does anybody else find it ironic that this poor girl has like quit smoking like for 5 days and talking about how great it is and whatnot? And you're sitting there next to her vaping the whole time. Like,
Hey man, I'm not the one with the
you're an
problem.
instigator. You are the instigator.
I'm not the one with the problem. She's the one who.
What
wants to quit
mirror are you
smoking.
looking into right now?
Oh, dude, I'm
Aw,
the
pumpkin.
mirror of my life is like walking through a fun house, man. Like that's everything is distorted to the way I want to see it.
Quit with me, Mark.
No. No, Twitter's never. Look, in all honesty, like, and not to like distract from any, I would love to quit smoking, but then that means I have zero vices, and I'm more afraid of like being alone with my thoughts than I am of quitting smoking.
So smoking puts you in a trance?
It's the only thing I do when I tweak out. Like, like I tried to quit smoking twice. And the first time I did it, I was like 22, and all I did was I kept a toothbrush in my mouth and brushed my teeth all the time. I had no gingivitis, but I wanted to kill people. And then the second time, I tried to do it by eating sunflower seeds.
Okay.
And it worked up until I got tired of smelling the bottles of sunflower seeds.
Would you say you might have an oral fixation though?
Just
I'm not trying to go down that road like easy.
Dude, I'm not denying it.
Actually, I gotta say, whenever I have a craving, it really helps for me to eat a pickle. I don't know why.
I want to murder people.
Yeah, no, it helps. It helps with the homicidal thing. It's
totally
like I don't
fine
want to
now.
kill anybody now. I've had a pickle. I'm good.
Cool.
Jimmy's like that.
And if I could make a suggestion, focus on exactly what it is that you do want rather than fixating in your, and I'm sure your hypnotherapist has told you this, so maybe I'm just saying this for
The benefit.
people at
That's what this
Land.
is for.
It's exactly.
focus on what it is that you do want, which is to have a healthier lifestyle, as opposed to focusing on what it is that you don't want, quitting smoking. So because you're then thinking smoking, even though you're saying quitting,
Right.
your mind may not be able to process like a negative like that. So just focusing on healthy breathing. I want a healthy lifestyle, healthy breathing, healthy lifestyle, just focusing on what it is exactly that you want rather than playing negative or double negative or triple negative. Or
I'm probably in, quadruple digits of.
yeah, just,
Don't even worry
just
about
channel.
Stop focusing on what I can't have and start focusing on what I can have. Like I can start running again,
Yeah,
which would be great.
Yeah.
I haven't run a 5K in like 2 years.
I
absolutely.
haven't run a 5K ever. I'm still here.
We should do a mud run.
I'm
Mark.
real happy.
Let's do a mud run.
No. No. I hate being dirty.
But you get to swim through a river at some point and you clean off.
No.
Then they electrocute you.
That sounds like prison, like in a third world country.
No, they're fun.
That's like North Korea. Like, oh yeah,
No,
and then
well,
I'm gonna pay like $150
Actually,
you
there's
did it.
there's barbed wire and
There
stuff.
you did.
There it is. We've gone to the interview now.
What? By the way, it wasn't that good.
No?
And as a matter of fact, I think it actually portrayed Kim Jong-un in a very nice light. So I don't know what the big deal. We did a whole podcast on it, and I watched the movie, and I'm like, what's this uproar about? And it was nothing. I actually found him sympathetic. I felt bad for him.
So life coaching.
Right.
Thank you, Lauren.
Segue.
Circle back.
Why do they have colors?
Well, what exactly is life coaching? How does the average person benefit from life coaching? What do people come to you for?
I mean, don't you guys all kind of? I mean, Marty, you kind of.
We're going to be distinctive, but
but not like in a weird, not in a weird way, but like in a totally.
Marty, you're kind of a weird guy. Is that
No. Like
Oh.
it's not. It's kind of like the destination kind of has the same idea, where am I right?
some similarities, but
Yeah, I mean, it's coaching.
it's coaching. Life coaching is a little distinctive, and I guess Rich answered his question in the sense of give more definition to it.
So life coaching is
And
really
I'll shut up.
no,
No,
it's
you
fine.
can.
Guido wants
To
me do it.
contrast,
Life
to help
coaching
you.
is just another name for like personal development. Okay, so you're developing yourself as a person. Life coaching would be a holistic way of saying thrapy. Some people don't want to use the word therapy
Right.
because it gives the impression that you're laying on a couch and some guy is sitting there just throwing questions at you. So life coaching is more of a holistic way of two people working together to create an outcome.
But like, is the important thing that there is a relationship?
Absolutely.
I mean, in both of what you
Well,
what
to just
do.
to
Well, there has to be
separate
trust.
it.
Is basically
My
what I'm saying.
focus is on business,
right?
so I'm a business coach. So the difference is that's my first focus. Now, does the personal part of that have to do with your business? Of course. But as opposed to focusing on the personal development, I focus first on the business and the people in the business. And then obviously your well-being as an individual or as the CEO of the company has something to do with that. We would work in tandem, quite frankly, in the right in the right situation.
That's what I was kind of
Yeah.
trying to get at. It's like
Yeah.
my stupid cake metaphor. Remember I said like happiness is like a cake? Oh my God. Does no one ever listen to me?
You say a lot of things.
I
Mark.
remember that one.
That was a good one, wasn't it?
It was
I
very
said to her,
good.
Jimmy's the only one that remembers this.
I said to Lauren, I said, happiness is like a cake. Raw eggs on their own are awful. Flour on its own is awful. Too much sugar on its own is awful. But when you throw everything together, like that's happiness.
That's pretty good.
And I thought it was really cute. It like wasn't like some slangy,
Yeah.
I thought it was adorable and relatable. And that's why I brought it up. You
I
can
like
also,
it.
you can
I want
also
to
use
compliment you for that, Mark. I found that very, very good.
That's good.
Thanks for bringing that to us.
this. You're welcome.
Okay.
See? We all worked. I now trust you.
This is good.
I now trust both.
good
You
rapport.
laughed at me,
Right.
and you rubbed my back figuratively, and now I trust both of you. And John,
We have to get John in the circle of trust now. We have to get him in on that.
He's over there like he's on
enjoying it.
intervention, man. He's just like
I'm not gonna lie to you. I really want some cake right now. I'm kind of hungry.
and chocolate and real chocolate.
Like, yeah, real chocolate cake. Like, let's go to Portugal.
Oh, good luck.
Like, you know what? That's
a unicorn
we need to go
running
to
across a
Portugal.
rainbow.
We will find your happiness, Mark, in Portugal.
Okay, so we need to hire both of you for me, so that I can make enough money to go to Portugal.
In
Are we coming
2016.
too?
And then, well, he's going to allow me to make enough money to go to Portugal.
Oh.
You're going to allow me to enjoy it.
Oh.
That was good.
Yeah,
I like
see?
that. That was very good. Yeah.
See, I want to take this a little bit of a step further, though. And this is kind of like, probably relating to what they do and everything. So you're saying that happiness is like a cake. Because obviously, the flour by itself sucks. The eggs by itself sucks. The sugar by itself sucks. So obviously their job is to, as a personal development and everything, bringing you to that point of happiness and getting you to that better point. So my question to you would be, even both, are you happy?
No.
Okay, so his job is to basically find your eggs or flour.
I can confidently say that.
No, okay, but this is good though, because like that's what it is for him to do, is to find out, like, whether he's putting you in trance or whatever, why aren't you happy? What are you missing?
Where are your eggs, Mark?
Here you start by saying, I'm happy. And you will start to be happy, and you'll start to live your life that way. How was that, Rich? How was that?
It was
not bad, huh?
High five. We
All
actually
right,
had a
man.
great conversation about this the other day when I interviewed you.
We did. I
Last
said
week.
something profound.
You-
Repeat it, please.
Well, you were starting to say that it starts in your mind.
Oh yeah, it absolutely is.
and that's what I think both of these gentlemen were leading to with you, Mark.
No. Okay. Okay. If you want to paint me with a roller and not a brush, I will say that, because so just like a cake and the deliciousness of the cake, happiness is defined by the individual. Just like history is written by the victor. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Happiness is relative to what somebody thinks is happy.
Right, and so's misery. But I think in my situation, when I say that I'm unhappy, I don't mean that I'm like boo-hoo, woe is me. I think that in my situation, it's like, it's like getting a 10. Like, you can't go above a 10. You know what I mean?
Why
so
not?
if I don't know, math,
Science. Yeah, but 10 is just relative.
See, you've set a ceiling for yourself already.
No. See what I'm doing is I'm constantly readjusting the ceiling.
Okay.
Like, does that make sense? I'm not
No.
readjusting the basement. I'm readjusting the ceiling
And
So
making
I
it
keep-
higher?
every time. Yeah.
Okay.
So like that for me is not like, so I mean, in my situation, like if it was defined like, personal life, business life, everything's going swimmingly, what is there next? It's like, oh, keep making money, or, keep doing the same routine with your significant other or your friends.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to me, it's not about that. Like, I usually wallow, but like to me, if I ever reach the point, that apex or the nexus of being like, oh, I'm happy, then that's it.
I think it's
Does that make sense? Or does that sound, is that like the glass is half
gotta go
empty way of
last.
looking at it?
I think it's
By the way, this is my therapy session now, because it just got deep.
I think it's extremely
I'm gonna
important
cry.
that you're an achiever. Is that a fair assessment, that you are an achiever? That you
I think the thing about achievers is
constantly-
that usually they achieve shit.
okay.
I'm the
but
one constantly like, shit, I didn't achieve that.
Is it possible that you think that because you're constantly raising that ceiling, and when you've gotten to where you wanted to be, you've unconsciously raised the ceiling, so now you're putting that object further out of reach, and you keep on creating new standards to live up to, or putting that toy on a higher shelf because now you're 5 years old and you can reach that. So the mom and dad puts the toy on the other shelf. Then they put the toy on the other shelf, and they put the toy.
No,
on the
because
other.
then they're defining where the shelf is for me.
But are you doing that to yourself?
The best way to describe me is like, those big inflatable balls that people get in and like run around in?
Those are awesome.
Okay, totally cool. You always see the people like going downhill in them, and they're like, this is fantastic. And there's a GoPro somewhere in the video. I'm in the big inflatable ball looking for the real deal chocolate cake. And every time I get near it, it just pushes it like a gerbil in the wheel. Like I just keep pushing it away.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Which is now that I'm thinking about it, is a really vicious cycle.
Okay. What would it take? Are you someone that when you achieve something, do you acknowledge it and give yourself the pat on the back and you show gratitude for achieving that?
No, I usually go take a nap. I'm dead serious because like when I get if I get I'm like my whole thing is like I don't have to worry about that anymore.
Okay, is that a reward for you? The nap?
I don't know. I never really. Wow.
You know.
All right. I'll go. No, because I'm like this is good for me, but everyone's going to know it now.
Let's do this.
I am his business agent, by the way.
This is this is no longer a discussion. We're going to play a game. You want to play a game?
What is this, Saw?
No. It's a fun game. It's a fun game. So right now, okay?
Yeah.
I want you to think of the last time you set a goal and achieve that goal. Can you think that?
Oh my God, my goals are like I'm going to go upstairs and
just
get
one goal.
a cheeseburger.
Okay.
I don't think that. I need to think that way. I don't think that way.
Okay. When was the last time? Let me help you define this a little bit better. Okay. Has there been recently a project that you worked on here at 25/8 Studios that you were like, I need to do this project and it's due on such and such a date. It's a big project.
All of them.
Oh, can you just think of one?
Yeah.
Okay. When you achieved that goal that you set, what happened next?
Honestly?
Yeah.
I had anxiety about people seeing it.
Okay. And
then
did they see it?
Yeah, everybody loved it.
Okay. So then what happened next?
Nothing.
What was the result when people said, "Oh, Mark, this is a great video," or it was a video, you said, right?
Yeah.
Okay, when people saw that video and they gave you high fives, pats on the backs, whatever it was, how did you feel after that? Or what was the internal voice when you got that positive feedback from people?
Honestly.
Yeah.
No, he wants you to lie.
Well, I mean,
No.
that's the question you ask when you're like, I'm not sure I should answer this honestly. I felt strange, and I didn't feel strange like in a good way. I felt strange because I'm like, I don't know if I deserve this.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because I'm like, it could be better. Like you. Okay, so you've done albums, right?
Sure.
You've recorded,
4 or 5.
4 or 5, right? Have you ever gotten to the end of that process and been like, it's perfect, we can't change anything? Or is it like, we ran out of time?
Well, I think I had,
because this is like the creative thing, which this question could be a painting, a film, a song, a garden. You know what I mean?
So there's a thing that I've noticed with certain artists, and when I say artists, and I was having this discussion before, art is a very funny thing because art is technically creativity. So it doesn't have to be music. It doesn't have to be journalism. It doesn't have to be, painting or sculpting or anything.
Well, I think art could be almost any business.
Well, it can be. I mean, Sun Tzu made it the art of war. Like, if you want to get into like really, literature, listen, there is an art of war. There is an art to killing people.
But that book applies to strategy and business as well.
Right.
Yes. But the thing is that when you get into this really interesting aspect of creativity, which you have, like, and you and I kind of talked about this before, with business, you're kind of like, but like with creativity and like creating, movies and stuff like that, like you just go and you go because you just like that whole process. But the one thing I've noticed about people that are really creative and overly creative too, is that, and maybe this is just me talking a little bit out of my ass, so I'll apologize, but it's something that I feel too, and I can relate to you with, is that there's a constant level of torment, and there always is a constant level of torment. There's a hindrance of like being in constant pain, and it's this thing with musicians too. And you'll notice it, like It's why you see musicians go to drugs. It's why you see artists go to drugs. I mean, like, look at, Van Gogh severing off his ear and everything like that. It's
Hemingway, Kurt Cobain.
But it's this constant pain and this constant, and I don't want to say negativity, because it's not negativity, because what out of this constant pain comes something beautiful,
right?
That people relate to. You feel like you're not doing enough, or you haven't given enough, or you haven't expressed yourself enough. Musicians like constantly are going through it, because you're saying you can record an album and then they get completely down on themselves because nobody's ever heard it before. It doesn't mean that they did a bad job. It just means that they weren't good marketers, or maybe just the right person at the right time didn't hear stuff like that. You say to me that like you're like the dog in Up, where you're like sitting there talking to a squirrel, you know what I mean? And it's like you go on.
I like you. I love you.
But the thing is, though, is that you and I have had like a business relationship and like a personal relationship where we can kind of relate to each other like that, because I feel that same way too at a lot of times, because it's maybe a symptom of my being a workaholic at times, is that I feel like I haven't achieved anything. And maybe while I've achieved something great, or you've achieved something great, you look at it as minuscule, and maybe you don't think the rest of everybody else thinks of it as something great, and now you start raising your ceiling from a drop ceiling to a skyscraper.
But isn't that way of thinking okay? So is that dangerous for us to think that way, because no matter what we do, it's never good enough?
I'm not going to tell you
but I'm not. That might have been a therapy question, but I mean, like, that way of thinking, which I completely understand, and I think that's any endeavor, whether you want to be a carpenter, or if you want to sell. Like, look, everything you see, like, art is all around you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's in the clothes you wear, the shoes you wear, the chair you sit on, the car you drive. Right. These microphones, somebody had to design them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So like, somebody had to think it up. And it goes from concept to reality. But the thing is like, no one's ever happy. Not no one. People like you and I.
Okay.
We always feel like there's more to do.
Well, what if
that drives, and that's the thing that like keeps us up at night. And
what if there could still be more to do, but you taught yourself how to appreciate what you did accomplish? Like, have you ever heard of the thing that was going around the internet, and they talk about it like in The Secret and things like that, is just to be grateful, to wake up in the morning and to say all the things that you're thankful for and grateful for. So you learn to appreciate what it is that you've accomplished. You can still continuously set the goal higher, but you're still, so if my goal today was to come on this podcast, so when I leave here, I can be thankful that I achieved that podcast. I appreciate it. And I say to myself, I did a good job. The people that I was with, we all did a great job. And I know that it's going to, be a great end result. And then tomorrow I can wake up and say, so I did this. Now I'm going to go a step further, and I'm going to do a podcast or interview with someone else. So I'm still grateful for what I did, and I'm using that as a catalyst or a catapult to then do something even better, right? See, because I'm sure Michael Phelps didn't just wake up and become the 7-time gold medal winner in one Olympics. You know what I'm saying? He had to swim and appreciate, this is what I did today, and I'm thankful for this, and I'm grateful for the learning that this teacher gave me, or I'm grateful for this medal that I got at this high school swim meet. Now he's swimming in college level, and he's appreciating the skills, and he's mastering his craft, and now he's going on to the World Cups and the Olympics and things like that. So you can always make yourself a better person. It's a healthy thing to learn to appreciate what you have accomplished, so that you can kind of see how far you've come.
See, I think, and maybe this is you and I, and because I'm a visual learner, there's
Good
like 13 different ways of learning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm a visual guy. And I think with you and I if we visualize success, it's vertical.
Okay.
And the way I think that you explained it was it's horizontal.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Then
Or is
can I
that
change
totally
that?
strange?
Can I change that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because there's finish lines. For me, it's
Okay. So to use that, would you be climbing a ladder, climbing a mountain? How would you be scaling up higher?
I don't know. I just kind of figured I was floating.
Okay. So then could you
I never really.
have achieved success at this level? Let's say it's 2 feet in the air.
Yeah.
Achieve that success, look at it, appreciate it, be thankful, be grateful, float up higher 3 feet in the air. Achieve that success, be thankful, be appreciative, be grateful, float up higher, be 4 feet. Could you do that?
So, but I mean, is this it? I mean,
So now we're rising up.
no, I think it's perception.
Okay.
I mean, am I wrong?
Are you?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking the questions. I'm like
Nicely done, Rich.
I'm like a little kid. Well, how does that make
This
you
is very
feel?
Socratic, sir. Very Socratic indeed.
Socrates. Have you never seen Bill and Ted?
Yes,
no.
and that is a great movie.
Socrates.
Right.
So, but
Like
you know,
Bob
it's
Genghis
all
Khan.
it's all about. You know, there's the people. Okay, so there's the people who could be like, you know, my life up until this point has sucked. You know,
Okay.
like this happened and that happened and blah blah blah. I'm of the ilk that, you know, I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. Okay, I've done a lot of things that I'm not necessarily proud of,
Okay.
but at the end of the day, I don't regret them.
Okay.
Because they make me who I am today. And I don't think I would have ever got there unless I made the mistakes.
Good. That's a good way of looking at it. And think about it like this. And you said it before. What was the statement that you said about Kobayashi?
To be professional, I think it means you do not die.
Okay. So think about it like this.
I still think that's nuts.
You've gotten this far
It's
in
true.
life, right? So one thing
And I
that
haven't died? Yeah, that's impressive.
What-
like, I'm,
but-
I'm grateful for that. Yeah.
but you've gotten this far. So the one thing that we talk about, like in NLP, is there is no failure. There's only feedback. So use everything as a learning experience. Just like Thomas Edison. You know what I'm saying? It took him how many? What?
He was a horrible person.
I don't like Thomas Edison.
Okay.
Thomas Edison was a horrible person.
Okay.
For those who aren't listening, look it up. Or for those who are listening.
I'm
How
a
did he just
team
tell
Tesla.
people who-
I'm a team Tesla girl.
Okay. All right.
I don't like Tesla. I don't like Edison.
Okay.
He was a bully.
Sorry.
That's a whole new segue. Right? Right, Rich?
We could just do a whole podcast on Tesla, versus Edison, which I'm all about that. By the way, I love Tesla.
I was going
That's one
with,
of my buttons. I apologize.
and I apologize for
button.
pushing that button.
That's a button for me.
So sorry.
It's okay.
Not like you smell like cabbage. It was like,
No,
think
you
of
don't-
Edison. It's
Don't
just
talk
like, whoa,
about
wait,
it.
hold on.
I was in Ohio and I got so
How
mad.
dare ye?
I had to leave the state. And I'm sorry.
How did you get mad at an entire state over Edison?
Apparently he was born there or something.
And
there was a plaque.
And he submarine at Fort Myers. I went down to go. I didn't go in though. All right. So going back to Edison.
Going back to
I know where you're going.
not making her mad at me because she's the one with the headphones.
It could mean both of us. we share we try to share a brain.
You share a brain?
She definitely occupies 80% of it, and I'm just like the left. I'm like Danny.
Well, then I
DeVito in
definitely don't want
Twins.
to make the 80% mad.
Does that make
No.
me Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yes, you are California. That's who you are. Okay, so
But
going
anyway,
back-
just-
okay.
There is no failure. There's only feedback. So just taking every experience as being a learning experience and saying, okay, so today I did my very best. Yeah, maybe I made a few mistakes. That's okay. So I'm going to use those mistakes as a learning experience for tomorrow. Tomorrow I won't make those mistakes. I'll do something better. And just like I'm sure you've done countless video projects, you've learned along the way. You've learned, okay, today this took me an hour to learn this process. So now tomorrow I'm going to do it in a matter of 15 minutes.
Yeah, I don't think there's any greater teaching tool than doing it wrong.
Cool.
I mean, is that? How do you know not to stick your hand in the fire? You got to do it.
You have a
You'll never
question?
do that again.
I have a question.
Okay.
I have a query. Is this
It's one of my favorite. That's my
A
trigger
query?
word.
you don't like query? sometimes when I feel overwhelmed with
I cry.
tasks that I have to do, and Mark can probably attest to, I'm a pretty bad overachiever at trying to get too much stuff done.
Okay.
I like to think of all of my tasks and things to do as like video game quests
Cool.
and like leveling up. So even if I kind of fail at like doing my dishes, or I accidentally throw like an ink pen in my load of laundry and it explodes all over my things and I have to wash it again.
Right.
It's like, well, I kind of lost that level, but I can do it over.
Yeah.
So I just lost a little bit of time, but I still am leveling up along the way
Right.
until I achieve my goal and I can go do something else.
It's a totally cool way of looking at it.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I approach like my bigger tasks. And like you've seen some of my posts on Facebook when I have to be in like 3 different states in a day. It's like now I'm in Winterhold.
Except Ohio.
No, I don't want to go to Ohio. Only because of Edison. It's not. I have nothing against Ohio itself. It's just Edison who.
For the no one from Ohio that we would have offended by that, that's listening to this.
One dude like sitting in a tub with his ham radio in Cleveland.
Wait, if there is anybody in Ohio, please respond to this.
You son of a bitch.
OH, and I'll leave that up to the comments. Anyway, I like the idea of just thinking of things in terms of video games, and I don't know, is that help? Is that sort of like the same idea?
Does it
of,
help
like,
you?
It does help.
Then do it.
Okay.
If it helps you, if I give an analogy, if I give an example, that's just one that I could have chosen. So if we're using cake for Mark because Mark enjoys cake, then that's the example we're going to give him with the eggs and the flour and things like that. If you want to look at it in terms of video games, quests to get the prizes at the end of the level, then that's what works for you and that's what you should do.
Okay.
I would do it that way.
So how do these two fine gentlemen fit into the equation?
Well, I've known John for a long time.
Who hasn't?
And I pretty much came up with this idea months ago. And John was the first person I called. And I threw the idea at him. And he said, awesome idea. Let's do it. So John and I started brainstorming, and this fine gentleman over here was actually the first person that I asked to be a presenter. I met Marty about 1.5 years ago or so.
Thereabouts.
And I went up to him at NEPA networker meeting, and I was like, Marty, this is the event that I want to do. I really want you to be a presenter. What's it going to take? And he said yes. And so I'll let these guys speak for a little bit.
Who says NEPA is so bad? It's synergy. It's bringing everyone together.
Right?
What's the event so that we're clear?
Do I say it or do you say it?
By all means. You define it.
The event is Resolutions. It's going to be at the Scranton Hilton on January 25th, Sunday, January 25th. And it's going to be focusing on personal and professional development, health and wellness, and bringing in arts and culture to create like an atmosphere of inspiration and excellence.
How does that all come together? Like, how do you, or like,
because
I don't mean to steal your questions,
there's been tons of health and wellness fairs. Like they're pretty much a dime a dozen. And there's, business fairs and personal development days, and there's events spreading arts and culture. I'm someone that is interested in all those areas of life. And from my work, and I know Marty's, he can probably agree with me.
You have a choice, Marty.
You have a choice. You can agree.
I will agree with you. I don't even know what you're going to say. I agree.
Either the red pill or the blue pill.
I've noticed that when you have an interest in one area of life, or maybe you have an issue with one area of life, sometimes it crosses over. Like you can have health issues and they will transfer into your personal and professional life. If you are a big partier and you love the arts and culture scene and you're a big partier, going out to the bars late at night, if you go up late to work the next day, that could have an influence. That's a negative influence. Also, it could have a positive influence in that if you're someone that is very creative and you use music or arts to drive yourself, that might be that prize at the end of the day to do a good job at your work and go home and be able to play keyboard or guitar or whatever, paint a picture or whatever. So I wanted to fuse all of these different areas of life and help people with their resolutions, so that if I know I need to get fit for this year, but I also kind of want to have a more of a social life. Oh, there's this event that has these two things right there. I'm going to go.
I think you just put the bar up higher for me.
Did I?
Yeah.
In a
Now
good
I look
way?
at you, now I look at you and I'm
We'll
like, man, he's doing so much good stuff.
We'll expect to see you there, by the way.
I'll be there.
Okay. All
Well,
right.
I will argue with that a little bit with you. So like,
Oh, are we going to argue now?
no. It's a good argument. It's a good argument. So, you would sit there to him though and say like he's setting a bar and he's doing all this good stuff and everything. Okay. So just hear me out a little bit. So what do you view or measure as success?
Yeah.
I want to know what you think that is. No,
Did it.
seriously, like you have a level, you have a bar, and I know you, I've known you for years.
Yeah.
Years and
Yeah.
years. So I want to know what you think is success.
My condolences.
Every
John used to play at the Green Frog. And then I would get drunk and I would go up and sing Duran Duran with him.
But
that was my 20s.
But you know what's funny? you would sing Duran Duran all the time. That's all you wanted to sing, and it was "Ordinary World" by.
It's a beautiful song.
And it's a magnificent song. Like actually, like the lyrics in the song are absolutely fantastic.
Simon Le Bon.
Which every woman in the 80s wanted to sleep with. Yeah. But anyways,
the Beatles of the 80s.
But like, no, honestly, though, like, what do you measure as success?
I don't know, man. I look at you, all three of you, and I, because I look at all three of you as successes, and that was the thing I was thinking about when we were talking about it before, on like setting, where you were talking about me, how like we're kind of, you and I are kind of relatable in the way of our personalities about like, how we just keep, I elaborated more being the feck in the bubble, but
right.
So in a weird way, like people could look at me, people could look at Rich, Lauren, any of you, Jimmy, and say, what does that person have to bitch about? Like, what do they have to keep going? Like, they're doing well, like good for them, blah, blah, blah. So to the people outside looking in, I might be in a great place, but from me on the inside looking out, I feel like I'm suffocating.
But that's the thing, though, that we were talking about before. Happiness.
I don't know.
Happiness is relative, and
Right.
success is only relative to what you think. So what you might view as success for me, like maybe I've done X, Y, and Z. I could turn around to you and say, you're crazy to not think that you're doing that before. Like my point to you would be, we're sitting in a room doing a podcast that didn't exist until you put your hands into it and built it.
Right.
And bands didn't come here to record, and Jimmy, who is the most awesome person ever, is in the booth over there. He wouldn't be here unless you.
He just goes, thank you.
like none of them would be here to even talk about this or create in this room unless you didn't have the idea to put it here. It's like, it's great that we've all had our contributions and our accolades for like what it is. But one of my friends, I will never forget this as long as I live. And it was cool because they actually put it in the business journal that we were just in. I was out in Los Angeles the one time when we got in this really weird discussion about the meaning of life, and it's just like, oh my god, I'm 24 years old and I'm having a freaking epiphany. Like, what
Why
is
am I
it?
in the ladies' bathroom?
And yeah, exactly. Well, and I was in Los Angeles too, so I really could have been at that point. And we just sat there. We were kind of going over everything because like we're just talking about religions and stuff, and Christianity and Judaism and Hindu and Taoism and Kabbalah and I was raised Roman Catholic, but of all the things that I love, like Kabbalah is like the one that I really relate to the most. And, you know, we actually sat there about like wanting to figure out what true happiness was, or, you know, what the ultimate meaning of life is, and this and that while we're here. And, you know, I asked him, I said, you know, what do you really think it is, dude? Like, what do you get it? Like it's, you know, some people measure it by wealth. And, you know, to me, I think that's bullshit, because at the end of the day, you can make all the money in the world and you can't take any of it with you. Yeah. You know, so I always had the aspect of, you know, while you're here with whatever money it is that you have, you know, do something good with it, you know, and some people would say, well, you know, I want it all for myself, and that's great. But the one thing he said to me was, he's like, I only thought that my real true purpose and meaning of life while I was here was to create more than I destroy. And that was the coolest thing I ever heard in my entire life, because like I just sat there and I had this look on
profound.
But I had this look on my face, like I just found out I was adopted or something, like because like I had like again. But it was like a real epiphany though, because you know, some people are the complete opposite, you know, and their true meaning of but it's the Batman thing. Some men just want to watch the world burn,
right?
You know, and you almost have to like have like a flip side of the spectrum, and this is that whole Kabbalism thing where it comes in, because and it's almost like Star Wars, and Richie and I love Star Wars, and
so
it's positive, but it's positive and negative, man. You can't have one without the other, and there has to be a true balance throughout, you know, to make all of it work.
But at the end of the day, the force should overcome the dark side, even by one good deed.
Well, listen, but that's a funny thing when you actually say that, though, because it's those people that sit there and say, you know, happiness is contagious. So is misery.
Oh yeah,
and it really is the truth. Like it's all right. I like you even more now, but it's like, but it's really the truth. So it's like when it comes to happiness, you know, like. And again, it's all relative. Like, what makes you really happy? Does misery make you happy? Does happy make you happy? Like, what is it?
I know people who love misery.
Yeah.
Misery loves company.
They love being miserable.
I like to surround myself with people who are just really, really
giggly.
No. This sounds really sick. I like, okay, so like Jimmy to me, right, is like Jimmy to me is like the Saturday morning cartoon. You know what I mean? Like no matter like what's going on, like Jimmy to me is like I can look at Jimmy and like have a smile or like laugh or like know that, you know, the world's gonna be okay because I'm watching X-Men at 10 a.m. on Fox. Right. Then there's the people I like to hang out with whose life, I don't know if this is the right choice of words, but it's a little bit, they're in a little worse off a place than me, whether it's like emotionally or, you know, creatively or whatever, because then that makes me look at myself and say, well, stop complaining because you don't have it that bad. You know what I mean? So like for me to put a positive spin on it, and it sounds really sick because it's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like I'm not in as bad a position as like, you're like, oh, okay, pretty awful example, but like Eric Frayne, I'm not in his position. So I can actually look at that positively and say like, I'm not a crazy psychopath.
Okay.
Something went well in my life. So I feel like this is the shit. Like this is the way I like my mind operates, where I'm like, I saw him on the news. That's why it's in my mind right now because I saw it on the news, and I'm like, I'm not him. So
I'm really glad.
Can't be that bad.
I'm really glad you're not a murderer too.
Okay,
me too.
What if
I'd really be uncomfortable?
Yeah. This would take a turn for the worse real quick.
Is it
no? Because I mean, like, and the other thing too is, you know, can't really have a conversation with that guy. Even if he is.
He doesn't really seem very talkative.
No. He's
especially now.
Right.
Yeah. Like he's like, you know what, who was, I think it was George Carlin or Sam Kinison when, you know, when they said, you know, oh, you always got to look out for the quiet ones.
Yeah, that was a Carlin.
Right. And then
Carlin
he goes, meanwhile, like the loud guy,
but he's going to come up behind you and stab you. Yeah.
And like with that example, it's like, you never know. You know, you almost have to be like cautiously optimistic about, or cautiously pessimistic maybe, about everybody that you meet. You know, where's the line? Who do I talk to? How do I talk to them?
But if that's,
did I totally divert?
If that's your perception of the world, then that is kind of what you're going to project. Like if you, and I'm not saying
Thanks.
you. No, I'm
Thanks,
not.
Rich.
I'm giving the
No Christmas card. No Kabbalah card for you this year.
oh drats.
No red ribbon around the wrist.
No Madonna album.
I think it's a good thing to
You just got that?
be careful, but to expect or to think the worst in a situation is kind of putting yourself in that negative state.
But I don't know if it's necessarily looking at it negatively. I think it's looking at it as a way where it's like, for me, a lot of people get caught up in the quote unquote drama of their lives. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, today's awful. Like I got a ticket in front of the downtown deli. You know what I mean? It's the worst day in the world.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like those people who just totally like blow whatever bad thing happens completely out of proportion. And it's probably not that the ticket is the thing that set him off. There was an underlying thing that they were probably upset about, but it was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Okay.
So my strange way of looking at things is to be like, almost look at like the worst case scenario and find solace that I'm not in that. Does that make sense?
Okay, so you're like reframing it so that you're looking at the brighter side?
It's like, because I can't stand, I have a really hard time listening to people, and the thing is like, it's hypocritical of me because I'm guilty of it too, where I'm like, oh, today's awful. Like Christmas. Like I fell and I hit my knee. And like, that was like the drama for the day.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? So I was totally I was limping. I was like literally like the 6-year-old that just fell off of her tricycle.
Uh-huh.
And then I had to like really step back. And I always, when I make decisions or look at things in life, I always say, what would I say to someone else in that position?
Okay.
And that's how
What
I
would
try
Marty
to
do?
view my life, because from the outside looking in, you get a different perspective of it.
Right.
When you're on the inside looking out, it's the worst thing in the world. Does that make sense?